absolute fireworks, Albie, in Washington and District and Columbia tonight.
I love it so much. I love all the chaos. I love killing a good spending bill. I love the drama. Give this to me any day. So we talked a little bit last night. I was on the road, so I don't know how much you guys could catch of what I was garbling on about or whatever. But so there was a spending bill, 1,500 pages of pork and government projects and stupid stuff that they had in order to avoid a government shutdown. And Elon Musk and Vivek tweeted about it, and people called their representatives, and that bill didn't happen. So now they have a 100-page bill to work from. They cut 90% of the bill.
Now, this is remember, this is what Congress does now. They wait till the Christmas holiday. That's when they vote on it. You're busy doing stuff. And by the time the impact hits, it's January 1st, and you're like, what happened? Whether it's an omnibus
because who's paying attention to Congress right now, honestly? Like, who's watching Congress? But it doesn't stop them from grandstanding about it. Can you play us Catherine Clark? I had sent us the Catherine Clark video of this because the Democrats are acting like Elon Musk did something really, really bad here by stopping them from passing this ridiculous, absurd 1,500-page bill.
They come forward.
You know, we are going to be here and stand together as Democrats to make sure the American people get what they need out of this. That is our focus. So yes,
not my 40% pay raise.
This is a difficult time for people, but what's really hard,
mostly me,
if you are already struggling to pay your bills, and all of a sudden the aid for your small business that you thought was coming is going to not come because Elon Musk and Donald Trump decided that to inject this chaos and hardship into your life. Those are the people we care about. The military families who won't get paid. The people. By the way,
Nancy Mace put forward a bill to pay the military in case of a government shutdown.
Right. No, they're not going to do any skinny bill. They're only doing this. This is the old-time messaging that Republicans are keeping. And then she's talking to Republican constituencies.
A billionaire stopped the bill.
Yeah. And this is what they'll go with. This is what, mouth-breathing, small-brained liberals.
Shadow President Musk.
Exactly. Now,
I believe we actually have a president right now, I'm pretty sure.
Right, and that's the whole thing. This is such a farce. It's such a it's funny because what they say is so cynical and dark. And
it's the most disingenuous BS that they've ever done, and it's so tired. That's the problem. Is it's been disingenuous and stupid for like decades now. But it's just embarrassing at this point to keep going out here and being like millionaires and billionaires once again. Like, really, just stop. This is just embarrassing for everybody.
Social Security benefits arriving on time because that is their lifeline. That is where our focus is, making sure that those Americans come through this unscathed. And that's why we will remain here to get the job done for them.
So now the skinny bill doesn't... Okay, we should probably get it back to...
It doesn't give Congress a 40% pay raise, among other things.
40% pay raise. By the way, here's another Republican, Democrat from Massachusetts, Richie Neal.
Your currency in this institution is your word. We reached an agreement. We came to modest achievements. And a tweet changed all of it?
Yes.
Can you imagine what the next 2 years are going to be like if every time the Congress works its will and then there's a tweet?
Can you imagine if somebody tells the American people what we're doing?
Right.
Can you imagine if somebody lets our voters know what we're voting on right now?
Right. Hey,
Can
Americans.
you imagine if I have any accountability for my own actions?
Yes. Hey, Americans, Congress has worked its will. Stop looking at Twitter and just take what we do, including our 40% pay raise. We've worked our will already.
So we didn't even do any of this because we didn't play Dan Crenshaw on this show yet. We did it on your radio show today. We are, by the way, in Connecticut for the Salvation Army Holiday Store. We'll be in Avon tomorrow. We'll be in Avon Monday with that Salvation Army group. They do amazing work. You should listen to Tom's radio show from today. Just incredible things that they do on a shoestring with volunteers. It's amazing. But come visit us in Avon, Connecticut at the Avon Old Farms Hotel. It's awesome. But yeah, we talked today on your radio show. We played this Dan Crenshaw clip because Dan Crenshaw is mad because heaven forbid he not be allowed to have insider information, stock tips, while the rest of us just survive and get by.
This is Dan Crenshaw. He's the guy with the eye patch who I've been in the past a fan of, but he just really coughed it up with this now. This is ridiculous. This is with him with Michael Moynihan in Bacha Ungar Sargon doing Barry Weiss's
Honestly? Is that the name of the podcast? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Free Press. That's her thing. And listen to this. Listen to his consternation when it starts out. He's asked about stock. So he's one of these guys who's outperforming the stock market big time. Mm-hmm. Big time. And he's also one of these guys who now is voting for, he was supporting the 40% raise.
Right, of course.
And so they ask him about it.
Vote for a ban on Congress members trading stocks?
Yeah, I mean, this is like number 1,000 on my priority list of things to care about. This is one of those stupid things that I've been dragged through the mud on. You know how much fucking money I've ever had in the stock market? About $20,000. And yet I've been dragged through the mud on this as if like there's some insider trading. I had to send a letter to Fox News, a threatening letter from my lawyers, threatening them with defamation because Jesse Waters had basically insinuated that I was insider trading. Of course, it's not true. You'd be more surprised how much little information we have. This is one of those bills that like
we literally as
people
Congress
support it. Yeah,
who's
sure, okay.
ruling on things that happen to companies and foreign policy and all this stuff. We literally have less information than you do to trade in the stock market. Mm-hmm. Obviously, duh. We have so little information. I have no insider information whatsoever. You're just stupid. You're stupid for thinking about this.
It's not a good look. And I've interviewed him before about his book, and he plugged his book every 11 seconds, which as an interviewer is very...
Which, by the way, campaign books are like a total slush fund thing for candidates also, because what they do is their campaigns can buy the books to like give out for campaign events and whatever. So, but the money that the campaign spends on the book goes to the person who wrote the book, who's the candidate, directly. Yeah. So it's a way to like money launder campaign money into your own pocket, essentially.
Well, I also assume that since it's not an official campaign book, that you have certain institutions that'll buy 100,000 of them.
Sure, but also like your own campaign that you raise money from, they'll buy a bunch of they'll buy a few thousand copies of your book and pay you money because they're going to use the book for giveaways or whatever. Like they're buying it as campaign merch, so they can pay money for it the same as they would pay like a T-shirt vendor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the money goes to you. It's so ridiculous. I hate like the campaign book.
I know, but
politician ghostwritten book money laundering scheme. It's like one of the worst things. It's as bad as the Hunter Biden paintings.
By the way,
honestly.
we should mention here that we both voted for a guy who's sold his own bleep coin, and
the Donald Trump trading cards with the little images of him like riding an elephant or whatever.
Rich.
I mean, sure, it's rich. I mean, but I didn't buy the Donald Trump coins or whatever. Like, come on. I mean, but that's the thing, isn't it, with Donald Trump, is that everyone is doing this stuff, but Donald Trump just wears it a little more openly than all of them. They put like a fancier veneer on it and pretend that they're better.
Oh, totally.
Like Donald Trump selling his name, but it's somehow like less embarrassing because
he's been doing it for 50 years.
I mean, yeah.
If anything in the market anyway. Are there a couple cases like wherein Nancy Pelosi has some very suspicious timing of her trades? Yeah, that has happened. But nobody else can point any other examples out. So sure, yeah, why not? Don't let us trade stocks. How about we'll just keep whipping ourselves. How about we don't make any money?
Whipping ourselves.
How about like just cut our paychecks? We haven't gotten a pay raise since 2008.
Oh my God, poor baby.
He
hasn't got a pay raise since 2008.
By the way, that predates him by about 10 years.
Of course.
He was not in Congress. We haven't gotten a pay raise.
COLA increase.
Not even a COLA increase?
Can you imagine that?
Oh my God.
I gotta remember.
Does your work give you a COLA increase?
I can remember to tell Odyssey. I don't think they were aware that there's been inflation, and so I've been getting a pay decrease. I'll mention that tomorrow. I assume I get paid retroactively.
Yeah, no, actually, no. Yeah, this is a great idea. Let's make Congress.
This is where he's getting like legit pissed off, which I kind of like.
Oh, yeah, no, actually, no. Yeah, this is a great idea. Let's make Congress a place where only the millionaires can actually afford to do the job. This is a wonderful idea. Let's just keep doing that, because and then some it's always some member, right, who senses the populist energy.
That old populist energy.
Right.
Like that's his mantra here. It's like, oh yeah, you're just caving to what the people want again.
Well, you know what that is. That is the last gaslight before you escape out of the bunker and get a plane to Moscow. It really is
such an a-hole.
You want to be the effing loser who uses populist energy and like creates this movement, like. But essentially, is they're worried now, and I'm glad they're worried because it's been way too long. There needs to be reckoning for these people.
Of course.
There needs to
and
be.
like, why shouldn't there be a Congress for whom it's not incredibly lucrative to be in Congress? Being in Congress is like a get-rich-quick scheme.
Totally.
And it shouldn't be that way. And you can see it like in Massachusetts versus New Hampshire, for example, right? Because the Massachusetts legislature makes what, like $60-something thousand a year plus per diems, like depending how far you have to travel to Boston.
And then all the bennies. That's
and
a good
then you
one.
can keep your regular job a lot of times too.
Right.
Plus you get the bennies, right?
That's the thing.
So yeah, being in the Massachusetts legislature is like full-time job type of pay, give or take. And then right next door, we have the New Hampshire legislature where they're paid $0.00 per year to be in the New Hampshire legislature. And now, yes, this means that it's easier for cranks and weirdos to get elected to the legislature. And it means that they don't meet as much, and it means they don't do as much stuff. But it also means that people don't make a lifelong career out of being in the New Hampshire state legislature because it's not paying them any money, right? And that's the way Congress should be. Like, yeah, there should probably be a salary that covers like the travel to and from Washington or whatever.
Sure.
But realistically speaking, this should be something people do as like a volunteer civil service type of thing where they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart or because they're really passionate about some issues or something for a couple of terms, and then they should go the F away. They're not supposed to be lifelong celebrities because they're in Congress. And I think that's how they feel about it. And I think that's how Dan Crenshaw feels about it. I think it's how a lot of them feel about it. Congress, the Senate, I think a lot of them feel that they're very important people who should be making a lot more money and who should be elites just on the basis of them being in Congress. And, you know, you and I were talking about this today because you were saying, like, can't some of these people, like, can we delete them out of our public life, like, not elect them anymore? And I was saying, like, well, if we stopped making it so freaking good for their pocketbook to be in Congress, they'd probably go away on their own.
Right.
Right? Like, I know they make $175,000 a year. They want a 40% raise. Plus, they get speaking fees whenever they do speaking engagements. Plus, they get all this campaign cash that they can pay themselves for various reasons, like for writing a book or whatever. Plus, they get all kinds of other things that they do, like the stock trades, insider information there. They get all kinds of stuff, right? And I think if you made it not as great to be in Congress from like a personal enrichment point of view, a lot of them wouldn't do it. Do you think Ed Markey would still be in Washington, D.C. if he weren't getting rich from it?
No. Of course not.
Like, he's not passionate about the...
He's not only not passionate...
Like, he doesn't care about anything he's doing down there.
No, he's never a guy who's in the district. Like, when he was a congressman, now he's a senator. But he's not a Massachusetts guy anymore.
Send him back to his ice cream truck, for goodness sakes. Like, this is what I don't get. Why are we letting people make themselves rich at our expense while they do absolutely nothing and just bitch and moan constantly oh, I'm such a whipping boy. Like, you are not a whipping boy. Stop it. Like,
well, yeah, and also, by the way, if you're a whipping boy, then you don't have to be a whipping boy. You can
go
just,
away.
Yeah.
Just go away. Just stop running for re-election and asking people for money to put you back into Congress.
Yeah.
I'm sure all your donors would love to know that it's so hard on you being a congressman, like, and you don't want to do it anymore. Nobody's making you do this. If you have some other career prospect somewhere, go right ahead and go do that. Oh, they're so annoying.
Believing
they
that
are
this
so
is what's gonna
annoying.
help me connect with the people, because what do the people want? Well, they want an easy button. All my problems will be solved if there's no stock trading. All my problems will be solved if there's term limits. Yeah, but if you think about any of these things for 5 whole minutes, you might quickly come to.
He is torching his constituents. Can you believe this?
You guys are such idiots. Screw you.
Can you think about it for maybe 5 minutes? Can you do that? Wow.
Different conclusion. Now, what I vote for? Yeah, sure. Who cares? Who cares? Like it doesn't matter to me because I don't have any fucking money to put in the stock market.
Oh, he should have. I realize he's visionally impaired, but he should have noticed that Michael Moynihan's head was cocked and he was grinning ear to ear, and he was not interrupting him for 2 minutes.
Right.
He should have realized that the smiling journalist not interrupting him for 2 minutes was very
They're
pleased.
letting me rant about how much I hate regular people and how they're not giving me a pay raise out of their own pocket right now while I make $175,000 a year plus free stock tips plus book sales plus speaking fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they wonder why people hate Washington, D.C. They wonder where the, quote, populist energy is coming from.
Well, it just shows you again that everything is always just an act. That's it. The thing with Trump being a
It's a
fascist,
bit.
an act, and now it's Elon's running the country. Just
Shout out President Musk. One of your callers said that today, and I like. We got onto another topic with your caller, so I didn't raise it, but like everybody's doing this, like Musk is really running the government. Like Donald Trump's not even in office yet. Your guy is still there. And somebody was tweeting it about like the school shooting, which obviously school shootings are tragic and terrible, and we hate them. What all the caveats and disclaimers that you need in there, right? But
Breaking
people
news,
being like,
Alice.
Kamala Harris would have stopped the school shooting. Like, she's in office right now, you guys. She's in office right now.
The funny thing is that if they had the majority, the Democrats right now, they'd try to impeach him right now. Seriously. Breaking news, the House has rejected President-elect Trump's new plan to fund the federal operations to suspend debt a day before the government shut down. Democrats refused to accommodate his sudden demands and
demands.
And
They just made up this whole spending bill on the spot, and people being like, what the F is this? That's a sudden demand.
in a conveniently in a hastily convened evening vote punctuated by angry outbursts over the self-made crisis. The law, it's AP
Here's
going with
Politico.
self-made crisis. We had a deal. This is self-made.
Here's Politico. Biden keeps quiet as Washington spirals into shutdown chaos. Thomas, Biden keeping quiet?
He's keeping quiet. That's exactly
Is
right.
he keeping quiet?
Close to the vest, yeah.
He's definitely, he's not coming out there and saying anything, because it's really funny because the Wall Street Journal just came out today with this really kind of incredible piece where
But don't move along yet. But I'm going to play one more thing for Jamie Raskin, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Here's Jamie Raskin seconds ago.
Where are you on this negotiation?
We had many weeks of negotiation with the Republicans. We arrived at a bipartisan legislative compromise. The Senate Democrats, the Senate Republicans, the House Democrats, the House Republicans, everybody agreed. And then it was blown up by Elon Musk, who apparently has become the fourth branch of government. And that's just an intolerable way of proceeding under...
So once again, Elon Musk has no power. All
right,
he can
he
do...
just tweeted something.
All he can do
Sorry,
is
people
send...
didn't like your stupid bill.
All he can do is spread information. He can show people what you're doing. That's all he can do.
Representative democracy. So the Democrats are going to try to figure out how we can salvage the public good out of the wreckage that has just been foisted upon us.
But do you think that there's a scenario where you might regret rejecting a clean debt ceiling increase? I mean, that's what they've added to this.
We're going to discuss this in our caucus, and we'll figure out what to do. It's just horrific that they have thrust us into this kind of chaos already, and they haven't.
It was a good question by the reporter, though. Like they've added the clean bill.
Yeah,
Will
just to continue funding the government as
exactly.
it is. And have you seen they've already been like, the Republicans removed childhood cancer research funding from this bill, and they have like Andrew Kaczynski tweeting like, my child died of cancer, so like
did he
I
really?
can't
Yeah, come on, dude.
Like I can't believe they took away this cancer funding. Like, so just pass the cancer funding on its own then, if the cancer funding is so great, because the way Washington works, and they should, as far as I'm concerned, the entire Congress should have to vote every time somebody in the federal government wants to buy a stapler. I'm so serious. Like, they should not pass this omnibus huge bill with all this spending in it. They should have to vote on every little thing.
Great, totally.
Put the cancer bill on its own.
Some Republicans are saying they've done their part now, that what comes next is up to you, and if this doesn't get passed and the government shuts down, the Democrats are going to own this.
Yeah, they did their part by entering into a legislative compromise with us, which we negotiated over a several-month period. We arrived at the compromise, and that's what we've all been behind, and that's what we expect to go forward. So who is our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, supposed to negotiate with? Is it Mike Johnson? Is he the Speaker of the House? Or is it Donald Trump? Or is it Elon Musk, or is it somebody else? So we got to try to figure out.
I mean, be careful what you wish for, guys.
Right. He's got a point in the sense that, like, the usual way was you do go with a Republican leader in compromise. That's over. That's over now.
Yeah,
That's
because
what this election
heaven
is.
forbid,
We don't effing trust you. You
heaven
did this.
forbid,
you wanted to win. You wanted to push people around during COVID. You wanted to mess around during the Obamacare demon pass BS. That's fine. This is what you get now. We don't effing trust you. And once again, like you were saying, Alice, Jamie Raskin, if you don't like it, as you would say, when our house is on fire, what do you say?
Get the F out.
Exactly. Go. Go.
Yeah, and I mean, heaven forbid that somebody put out there that you're about to pass a 1,500-page bill without knowing what's in it and start tweeting things that are in it like they're ridiculous. Like, sorry, this is how this works. This isn't like billionaires controlling Congress. Like, nobody controls your vote except your constituents. So what they're actually upset about is not Elon Musk. What they're upset about is that human beings, people who vote for them, are calling their offices and complaining because Elon Musk let them see what Congress is doing.
Exactly. And there is also, you've worked in businesses like where this is a thing, and so have I, where you step in somewhere, bright-eyed, and you eventually get beaten down. Oh, the process is this, the process is this, the process is this. And you're like, okay, this is just how it is. This is just how it is. And we have to horse trade, and we have to make sure, earmarks and this and that I have to give, and you can't win them all. And it's true. And I understand that. And in most of my jobs, it's been like, oh, I see. It's just this.
Yeah, you come in all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to make change and do stuff.
Is what it is. So when new ideas come over, you say, okay, that's fine that you want to. We'll play along,
blah,
but you
blah,
understand
blah, blah.
the process.
You want to
is
stop
this.
Congress from individual stock trading,
Right.
blah blah blah.
Right, and we'll make a thing out of that. Maybe we'll throw something together that's symbolic, whatever. But this is not how it works. And usually, they 99% of the time, the establishment rot wins. But now there's a new element here where these people are being seen for the first time. And Americans are not reacting to their alarmism anymore. They have done this so long and so badly that Americans are saying, F you. No. That's what Donald Trump is.
Catherine Clark goes out here and is like, you want to prove my 40% pay raise, so Elon Musk is taking money from working people. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Right.
It's harder for us than it is for you. You can pass a bill without a pay raise for you in it. Let's effing go. Let's effing go. And they have a bill in front of them now that's 100 pages that keeps funding the government for the next 2 years. And they can do that and not cause a scene. But they want to. They want to be a problem right now. And they also want to pretend, by the way, that Trump is president right now.
Right.
So.
Which also just goes to the real metadata that's going out to thinking people is that, they're doing, don't they have a guy? Oh, they don't have a guy because they all said the guy was healthy 4 years ago, but the guy wasn't. Now the guy can't do anything anymore.
I mean, right? So here's the thing. So this is the piece WSJ published today, and this is from their reporting department, not their editorial page. Because I know with the Wall Street Journal, there's obviously a big difference. So they did a whole piece. They talked to a bunch of people. It turns out that Biden has been turning down meetings and not running a real administration for years, as people freaking suspected and talked about years ago, right? During the 2020 presidential primary, Jill Biden campaigned so extensively. This is the opening line of this piece in the Wall Street Journal. Jill Biden campaigned so extensively across Iowa that she held events in more counties than Joe, a fact that her press secretary at the time, Michael LaRosa, touted to a local reporter. His superior in the Biden campaign quickly chided him. As the three rode in a minivan through the state's cornfields, Anthony Bernal, then a deputy campaign manager and chief of staff to Jill Biden, pressed LaRosa to contact the reporter again and play down any comparison in campaign appearances between Joe Biden, then 77, and his wife, who is 8 years his junior. Her energetic schedule only highlighted her husband's more plodding pace, LaRosa recalls being told. The message from Biden's team was clear. The more you talk her up, the more you make him look bad, LaRosa said. This small correction foreshadowed how Biden's closest aides and advisors would manage the limitations of the oldest president in U.S. history during his 4 years in office. To adapt the White House around the needs of a diminished leader, they told visitors to keep meetings focused. Interactions with senior Democratic lawmakers and cabinet members, including powerful secretaries such as Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen, were infrequent and grew less frequent. Some legislative leaders had a hard time getting the president's ear at key moments, including ahead of the U.S.'s disastrous pullout from Afghanistan. Senior advisors were often put into roles that some administration officials and lawmakers thought Biden should occupy, with people such as Jake Sullivan, Steve Ricchetti, and Lael Brainerd and her predecessor frequently in the position of being go-betweens for the president. Press aides who compiled packages of news clips for Biden were told by senior staff to exclude negative stories about the president. The president wasn't talking to his own pollsters as surveys showed him trailing in the 2024 race. So he was, and this is really from the beginning of his presidency, according to this article in the Wall Street Journal, that's very heavily reported with numerous sources, including a lot of on-the-record sources, including on-the-record sources from the Biden administration, from his cabinet secretaries' departments, saying that he didn't meet with secretaries. He held 9 cabinet meetings during his entire 4 years as president, compared to 19 in Obama's first term and 25 in Trump's first term. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Another sign the bruising presidential schedule needed to be adjusted for Biden's advanced age had arisen early on. In just the first few months of his term, administration officials noticed the president became tired if meetings went long and would often make mistakes. They issued a directive to lawmakers and allies seeking one-on-one time. Exchanges should be short and focused, according to people who received the message directly from the White House. Meetings should start later in the day since Biden has never been at his best first thing in the morning, some people said. His staff made these adjustments to limit potential missteps by Biden. The president, known for long and rambling sessions, at times pushed in the opposite direction, wanting or just taking more time. The White House has denied that his schedule has been altered due to his age. So this goes on and on and on. This article, it interviews people in Congress. It interviews people in his cabinet secretary's staff, talking about how this was really, really atypical for a president. He was very defended by Steve Ricchetti, by these other people who prevented people from seeing how deep the decline was. And this goes to everything we've talked about on this show for years. Pete Buttigieg didn't feel the need to let anybody know he was taking paternity leave for months as a cabinet secretary. Lloyd Austin went to the hospital. Nobody heard from him for a month. Just fine. Right. No, he didn't have a boss. Nobody was checking in on him. Everything was treated as though there was nobody in charge. And we've been talking about this for years. And we were gaslit into thinking that we were crazy, that everything was fine. The press was in on this. They insisted that everything was fine. And we were all conspiracy theorists and lunatics for suggesting that the president was not all right. And now, like, do you have the Chris Cillizza audio that I sent us? Because they're finally... Like we talked about previously about Chris Cillizza when he came out after the election and was like, by the way, I guess it's now safe to admit that Tim Walz was a terrible VP pick. Like now
as a reporter, I have a confession to make.
Oh, confession.
I should have pushed harder earlier for more information about Joe Biden's mental and physical well-being and any signs of decline. So let me...
okay.
I should have pushed harder.
Okay.
I'm so sorry about that.
The thing to do at this point is to go into self-exile. I'm sorry about that.
I'm not really a reporter. I'm obviously too biased to do this job. Like, I'm an embarrassment to the profession.
Yes, I gave you inadequate...
I'm going to go away now.
I as a reporter, I wasn't a reporter for 4 years. Just so you know. I said I was a reporter and got the check that said I was a reporter, but I wasn't reporting. Amazing.
Let me explain. Joe Biden was president from 2020 to 2024. I worked at CNN through 2022.
Good job.
During that time, the early part when I was at CNN, 2020 to 2022, Republicans would regularly ping me and say, why don't you ask more questions to Joe Biden and how he's doing? He's 76, 77, 78-year-old man. And I would sort of brush them off because what I would say is, well, there's no...
He seems
obvious evidence that he's declining. Yeah, he moves a little slower. He talks a little slower, but there's no evidence that he's declining.
Other than the evidence that he's declining, there's no evidence that he is declining.
Exactly. He can't speak, think, walk, move, and he freezes. And he's catatonic.
That was one of the things in the Wall Street Journal article. They were like, the aides that normally would just like be on their cell phones around the president were like tasked with telling him where to walk and like what...
The White House and the people around Joe Biden were absolutely adamant that suggesting anything, asking the question about whether he was in some physical, mental, or both decline was offensive. How could you? It's age shaming. And I think that impacted me.
Holy F.
The White House told me I was a bad person for asking the question. So, you know what? I figured I was probably just a bad person and I shouldn't ask that question anymore.
So I stopped asking the question. I didn't want to get in trouble with him. I don't want them to put me in detention. It's a freaking amazing.
At some level. Because, well, I did ask the question from time to time of, you know, not...
How is this guy just not simply near a dumpster? I mean, like... So it occurs to me that the whole time I was reporting, I wasn't reporting. As a matter of fact, I was pushed around by people. And by the way, Alice, you know what else he didn't report? That the White House told him to shut up about Biden's mind being gone.
Right.
Because
that's a story in itself, obviously.
I would say so. In most administrations, that's a huge scandal. That's the beginning of the impeachment or 25th Amendment. But no, because CNN, CNN didn't give a flying bleep.
Not directly the White House, but aides and people around in that orbit. I didn't really push on it, if I'm being honest.
I can tell you one thing. You know, I was never a reporter. I was a columnist. And the grizzled Herald people would have fed this guy into a tree shredder for the stuff that he's saying. They're like, because they're a real reporter. Joe Shaka... Jules Critton didn't.
Right, if a reporter came to them and was like, the Charlie Baker administration told me it was mean to ask questions about the fact that he keeps wandering off into the sunset every time they let him go.
Oh, that would have been, as a matter of fact, they would have loved that because that would have meant war. They would have made it a huge story. That would have been the story. But all right, should we get to the chat?
Yeah, I guess we should head to the chat.
We've got a child.
Poor Peter Rabbit is not pleased with the...
So there's a couple of messages that we had yesterday and that were for you. So I want to play them back, if you don't mind. Here we go.
Hey, Tom and Alice. This is Michael from Cincinnati. I want to respond to the story you guys were telling tonight about the 41-year-old who sits around all day smoking pot and playing video games after making money. and his wife calls him a deadbeat. It reminded me of a story of a couple of years back when I had the brilliant idea of pulling back a bit and working part-time. One day my wife came to me after looking at our checking account and said,
Nope.
"What happened to all the money after paying some bills?" And that was the exact moment.
It's great, isn't it? What happened to all the money?
Back to work. Because a woman is accustomed to the life you gave her when she met you. And if you change
Listen
that,
to this.
you are in trouble. So, Tom, you're a genius because you started low. And I don't know where you went from there, but you did
Down.
the right thing. Yes. So, that guy's screwed because he's going to go back to work soon. Just a funny story. I thought you guys would like it.
I love it.
And keep up the good work. Talk to you later. Bye.
Talk to you later, brother.
I wonder if Michael from Cincinnati knows Allison from Cincinnati.
Who knows? So far, I like everybody I know from Cincinnati. Everybody know.
Am I incorrect? But Alice, didn't you work on the Baker campaign? Is that not right?
Mm-hmm.
I did not work on the Baker campaign.
Mm-hmm. Alice Saliza, go ahead. What did you do, Saliza?
I did not work for the Baker campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for my friend who was a state Senate candidate during that Baker campaign.
Who's that, Monica?
Mm-hmm.
All right, there you go. It's a denial. Cheswick. This one comes in at 140. I'm thrilled with the length.
Hey, Alice, I absolutely understood your premise when it comes to daylight savings time, in that the sun will shine the same amount of hours, whether
True.
it's daylight savings time or not daylight savings time. That's absolutely right as rain. It's totally factual. Now, I will say this. Having more daylight in the evening is totally beneficial from a financial perspective. Right
For
now,
who?
we're turning on the lights at 4:30, 5 o'clock at night. If there's more daylight in the evening, that means we're turning our lights on later.
There you go.
And that's so much more beneficial to our wallets. I mean, the electric bills have to go down if right now, instead of turning on the lights at 4:30, you're not turning on the lights till 5:30.
Yeah, but if I have to turn on the
And
lights at
in
6
the
and the
fall
sun
and in
doesn't
the
come up until
spring,
8:30
if it's
a.m.
not, dark until 7 or 7:30, and you're not running your AC, I would assume that your electric bills are going to go down. I mean, and you guys, from what you told me,
Your
you
electric
guys
bill is
get
ridiculous.
killed on
That's
your
true.
electric bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
So wouldn't you want there to be more light in the evening so that, the cost of your electric bill will go down? And, right now with the Joe Biden economy, we're all getting killed and we're all looking to save money whenever we can. So wouldn't this be beneficial to all of us if there's more light in the evening? In the words of Alice Shattuck, I don't understand.
I don't understand daylight savings time. I think there's something wrong with my brain because I actually don't understand why we change what the clocks say. It makes me insane. I don't get it. But I mean, maybe for some people it's beneficial. For me, I'm a get up early and I put the kids to bed early. So to me personally, daylight savings time is inconvenient. I don't like daylight savings time. So, but there's more accidents a year. Some estimates say there's about 30 more traffic deaths in America per year because of daylight savings time. It's not a ton, but I mean,
No.
it's not nothing.
30's nothing. It's fine.
You're fine with taking 30 deaths so you can go
Fine.
golfing after work. By the way, Todd on Twitter wants everyone to know that the golfing after work comment is from him. He would like credit on the burnt barrel. He's upset. I did not credit him. Yes. He's the one who told me that I'm talking like somebody who doesn't go golfing after work.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true. I'm not someone who goes golfing after work.
I got to tell you, I don't like the idea of women golfing at all. I don't like that. I don't like
Should
the
be
ladies'
illegal.
tees.
You know what?
I don't like that stuff.
Trump's going to ban that, I assume.
Good.
Hi, Steve from Aaron.
Hey, Steve.
One thing I know about Tom's football skills, I'm sure the pick six was preceded by several false starts and a delay of game. Oh, hit the gas, baby.
That's exactly right. Steve gets it. You're exactly right. As a matter of fact, I think that's accurate. The way he's portrayed that is actually. Don't enjoy it too much else, okay? Jesus. Women are brutal.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Steve Romero's joke.
You love that.
It's just funny.
Calm down, Alice.
It's okay.
Alice.
You didn't hear this, did you?
Alice.
That's me.
Alice, can you hear me?
Yeah. Alice, can you hear me? This is me yesterday trying to talk to you where you're ranting on and on for 6 minutes at a time. And I was saying, Alice.
I was in the car. It was very hard to hear you.
God.
You didn't have to include me in this show if you didn't want to.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack. Regarding daylight savings, the Dominican Republic, where I spend a fair amount of time during the course of the year,
beautiful
has no daylight savings, and it's fantastic. It doesn't get dark at 3:30 in the afternoon, giving me seasonal affective disorder.
It's also a lot closer to the equator, I believe.
And we should do the same thing here. Thank you.
Correct, Steve. That is correct. By the way, the Dominican, I went there in 1999, or maybe year two. Alice, or maybe even the year 2000. With a bunch of folks I worked with at a hotel, a bunch of dudes and their wives, etc. And it was at the Punta Cana in the Iberostar, and very bright place, the Dominican Republic, near the equator. So
So they get a lot more light in general. Which
so we were told that the beach was a nude beach, and it was full. It was a huge destination for like people from Europe, women from Europe, and so a bunch of dudes from Somerville were there with us. Some friends from Somerville, like boys who knew each other in the 80s, and they said that the thing about a nude beach is after like a day or two that you won't notice anymore. Those dudes took pictures of all the naked women for the entire stretch. The entire stretch. You'll be shocked, Alice. I mostly stayed inside my hotel room watching the True Hollywood Story of who did Can't Touch This.
MC Hammer?
Yes, of AMC Hammer. So that's what I did. That's a long story. I told you guys how I got CB'd, and that's a long story. We'll get into it later.
Okay, I'm still trying to figure out the discussion that opened the pod last night.
Yes.
So, we talking about orgasm here, or are we talking about fixing the bulkhead door? Because both would apply to Tom not being able to talk coherently about either. Just curious. Hope they both got fixed.
So thank you. I like the laugh at the end. Hold on. This is the best.
Both got fixed.
No, it has to do with Alice. Yes, I was meant to redeem a free voucher for a free one of those, Tim, and I was told to hit the gas
because I did not have a lot of time.
Right.
And so I just expected him to just be done.
So I hit
in and out. Right. Let's go,
Alice. So I hit the gas, and then Alice decided to steal the moment to
pick six.
To score one for herself, which is which is like amazing.
Not really my fault.
Amazing.
Just happened
guys that
that
are
way.
married will know this. Newlyweds will be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that was a problem for any." Oh. Oh, you know what's also funny?
What's also
is it like
funny?
Suddenly that meeting wasn't so important as long as like your your rocks are.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Tom, you and I are definitely simpatico when it comes to the Dave Matthews Band.
Totally.
I loathe the band. I loathe the man.
Yep.
And I loathe them with the same vigor with which I loathe bands like Fish.
Correct.
And the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
I just made you say underwear. Remember that song?
Yes, I do.
That was everywhere when I was like in the end of middle school. It's torture.
You're still a Philistine because you don't like Oasis. But Dr. Cheswick, right in my wheelhouse with mentioning The World at War. One of the greatest documentary series ever produced, and one of the most depressing. I dare anyone to watch the opening credits sequence of The World at War for any episode and not be incredibly depressed, but it's still great. Awesome stuff. I think it was the first series to show real footage of the Holocaust and the camps after they were liberated. Right. Great stuff on the Eastern Front and Japan. It's really well done. I think you could pick it up for short money on Amazon, like $19.99 on DVD. But Tom, you'll be disappointed to know. Oh, it's narrated by Laurence Olivier.
Oh my God, I love him.
You'll be disappointed to know that there's no episode on Operation High Jump and the pitch battle that was fought in the Arctic between
Antarctic.
Americans, defunct Nazis, and space aliens. Okay, somehow that didn't make the cut. Okay, hi-oh! Thank you.
It was Click-Tor 6 is what we're talking about. Yes, and there was a pitch battle. It did happen. It was in Antarctica. Laurence Olivier was alive in 1991.
I love Laurence.
There's no way he was alive. There's no way. Can't be. Uh-oh, this guy's gonna go into the bathroom.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack. I just wanted everyone to know that I listened twice to how many Alice's Tom said in a row, and I which was something of a first in recorded human history. It's 24. I went back and counted twice. 24 utterances of Alice, 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 until Alice actually heard it. It's fantastic.
It was very loud on the highway in the rain. Thank you, Steve. I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, it was, well, after a while, it became passive aggressive. It just like to show you, like one time I got 20 years ago, I had a girlfriend, and I lived with her in our house and in her apartment, and I got like passed out drunk watching the Patriots, which is something I was. There's a height of the Patriots, like in 2004. I would just like start drinking for the 1 o'clock game, and then the 4 o'clock game, and then if the Pats were at 4 o'clock, I was just good done. And she decided that she was going to judge me for it. So she stood over me saying, "This is Alice." Well, I'm passed out on the couch as the post football game stuff is on. She stood over me and decided to say, "Tom, the apartment's on fire. Tom, the apartment's on fire." Tom, to show me how drunk I was, that she was trying to tell me if we were going to have kids, that the apartment's on fire, but I was too drunk.
By the way, our 1-year-old is drinking a fountain beverage. Speaking of,
oh, is he? So she spent time telling me that the apartment's on fire while I'm unconscious, just to show me. I had to say that 136 times, and you still didn't wake up, and I'm supposed to have a future with you. I was like, Jesus, holy frig! Oh.
Can we talk about the fact that your ex-girlfriend apparently had Grover's voice?
She did have Grover's voice. Yeah, actually, it's funny because she's in the tangent of the world that many people would know. She doesn't listen to this, and she doesn't have any idea what I'm talking about. That I'm talking about anything, but she has. This
is not supple. This is a different lady.
She's one degree of separation from the whole KMS world. She's one degree of separation from my own youth. It's like she's kind of a linchpin. She probably voted for Trump this year.
She's your like true love of your life.
Not
to be
true.
honest,
Not true.
No, it's true.
It's my no.
Because when I said to you,
this is
a couple years ago,
as I'm about to play the closing credits, this is exactly where to do this. Okay, as you said to me,
because
I love my life.
When I said to you a couple years ago, I was like, you never had that like yearning, I'm really in love with you about me, and you were like, yeah, I don't have that in me anymore, because like she was that person for you.
Well, in high school, I was in puppy love, that whole thing, and then I was eschewed, and then 12 years later,
she was like the girl of destiny, the one that got away that you always loved.
The Lifetime picture, Lifetime movie thing.
So there was nothing left for me when I came on the scene.
No,
you didn't have any of that anymore.
No, by the time you were, I was long since dead. No.
Thank you for clarifying.
Don't be born in 1987, Alice. It happens in the late 80s, early 90s. That's when I was alive. Okay, it was closed out. I'm in a sarcophagus since then. Okay, I am technically somebody who's. This is all muscle memory.
Thank you for explaining to everybody how you don't really love me. But
that is not true.
That's what you said.
That is not true at all. My goodness, who wouldn't? Come on, please.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Thank you for putting up with our stuff while we're on the road. We'll see if we can get a video up of this, if we can figure it out. Some technical difficulties with the video sound. If not, we will see you Sunday, and Monday we'll be back in the Burn Barrel Podcast studios, I think, just in time for Christmas and Christmas Eve. I love Christmas. Thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend.
C'est la vie.